My name is David Collins. I'm 41 years old. I live in Denver, Colorado, and up until the moment my phone rang that Wednesday morning, my life was running on rails. I'd been with Harrison Strategic for 9 years, Senior VP in corporate development. Same route to work every day. Same blue mug for my morning coffee. I even poured the cream first, like always, and stood in the break room like I did every Wednesday around 9 a.m. That's when my phone lit up with my sister's name. Sarah. She never calls before lunch. That alone was enough to twist something in my gut. I stared at the screen, half daring it to stop ringing. It didn't. Hey, I answered. And immediately I knew. She's gone, David. Sarah said it quiet, broken, about 15 minutes ago. Gone. Like a light switched off. I didn't say anything. Just stood there like a statue. One hand on the counter, the other gripping my mug so tight I could feel the ceramic digging into my palm. If I let it drop, the whole damn thing might fall apart. If I just stood still, maybe everything would stay standing. She was peaceful, Sarah added. Just stopped breathing. Hospice. That word had taken over our lives for the last 3 weeks. She hadn't spoken since Friday. Barely opened her eyes since Monday. But even knowing it was coming didn't make the words hit any softer. I'll get on a flight, I said eventually. My voice sounded strange, like it didn't belong to me. She asked for it to be small, Sarah said quietly. You don't have to rush, but you should be here. Yeah, I will be. I ended the call. The silence afterward was deafening. I stood there a second longer, still holding that stupid mug like it might hold me up, and then I heard footsteps. Richardson walked into the break room, our VP of strategic planning, one of the few people at the firm I actually respected. He stopped when he saw me. You okay? He asked. I didn't answer right away. My mom just died, I said. It came out flat. No inflection. Just facts. Richard took a step forward, then stopped. I could see the hesitation in his eyes, the awkwardness, the way people don't know what to say when the worst has already happened. Damn, he muttered. I'm sorry, David. I nodded. That was it. Just a nod. He opened his mouth like he was going to say more, but just then my phone buzzed again. A text this time. Paul Henderson. My office. Now. Paul Henderson. The CO. The guy who still called me sport in meetings and pretended that made him relatable. I looked at the message for a long second. Richard saw it too. Now, he asked. Jesus. Yeah, I said. Guess I better go. You sure you're... But I was already walking out. It should have been the end of the day. But it wasn't. Not even close. The hallway from the break room to the executive floor felt longer than usual. I could still hear Sarah's voice echoing in my head. She's gone, David. I hadn't even had 5 minutes to sit with it. I walked past the framed motivational posters. Innovation starts here. Be relentless. And thought about punching one straight through the glass. Paul Henderson's office was at the far end. Floor-to-ceiling windows, white leather chairs, desk made from reclaimed wood that probably cost more than my first car. I knocked once and stepped in. He didn't even glance up. Taiwan team landed early, he said, still scrolling through his phone. They want to bump the meeting up. Can you do noon? I stood there for a second. Then I said it, flatly, no sugarcoating. My mom just died. That got his attention. His thumb froze mid-scroll. He looked up at me like I just told him we were out of printer paper. Not shocked, just mildly inconvenienced. When he asked, like he was checking shipping status. 30 minutes ago. I need to leave today. He blinked, leaned back in his chair, gave this little exhale like the timing couldn't be worse, which I guess it was for him. That's tough, he said. I'm sorry to hear it, David. Really. He wasn't. Not even a little. But the Chun family wants to see you. They specifically asked. You've been the face of this deal since the first call. And if we fumble it now... I didn't say a word. You'll have full bereavement after the meeting, he said quickly. Take a week. 10 days if you need it. But we need this locked in first. I stared at him. 9 years at this firm. 9 years of missed birthdays, canceled vacations, red-eye flights, and weekend decks. 9 years of saying yes. And this was what I got when I asked for a single day to bury my mother. He watched me carefully now, probably wondering if I'd raise hell. Cry. Storm out. But I didn't. I just turned and walked out, not in defeat, but with a plan already forming. The look on his face? I didn't see it, but I could imagine it. Confused, relieved, maybe even smug, like he thought I'd swallowed the bitter pill again, just like always. He had no idea what was coming. I didn't go back to my office, didn't sit down, didn't check my email. I just walked straight down the corridor, past Richard, who looked up from his desk, but didn't say a word, past the wilted plant by my door that I kept forgetting to throw away, and into the conference room. Maya from marketing was there, setting up water bottles and straightening place cards. She glanced up when I walked in. "Hey, they're landing early," she said. "Paul wants." "My mom died this morning," I said. My voice was quiet, almost level. 20 minutes before I got here. She froze. Her hand hovered over a stack of reports. "Oh my God, David, what the hell are you doing here? I was told if I leave, I'm fired." Her eyes welled up instantly. Not tears, not yet, but rage. I could see it in the way her jaw set. "Give me your laptop," I said. "What?" "Just for a minute. I need access to the deck file." She blinked, confused, but slid it over without asking more. I dropped into a chair and opened up the presentation. There it was, Paul's version. The one I'd built for him 3 weeks ago when he asked for something leaner. What he really meant was dirtier. It slashed wages at the Taipei facility and outsourced half of the local staff. It was the kind of model that closed deals and gutted people. I hit select all and deleted it. "Go to my desk," I said. "Bottom drawer. There's a black flash drive taped under the tray. Bring it here." Maya stared at me. "David, trust me." She nodded once and left. I sat there, breathing slow. My hands weren't shaking yet. I looked around the room. 12 chairs, spotless whiteboard, a projection screen pulled down like a curtain, waiting for an act that shouldn't happen. This wasn't going to be a meeting. This was going to be a reckoning. Maya came back fast. She dropped the drive into my palm without a word. I plugged it in, opened my version. The real one. Same returns, same growth. But this one didn't sell out the workers. This one honored the people who actually made the products. I looked up at her. "I'm going to do both," I said. "Close the deal. Bury my mom." She stared at me a second, then handed me her spare mouse. "Then let's make it count." I took the flash drive and left the conference room like I hadn't just committed corporate heresy. Maya stayed behind to clean up the fake pitch, Paul's version, like nothing had changed. Out in the hallway, I ducked into an empty office and locked the door. Called Sarah. "Hey," she said, her voice low and tired. "Friday," I told her. "Make it Friday. I'll be there." She didn't ask if I was okay. Didn't ask what I meant. Just said, "Got it? I'll tell Tom." Then I called Marcus, our client manager, who'd been handling the Chin family's travel and logistics. He picked up on the first ring. "Marcus, meeting locations changed." I said, "Already pulling up a calendar invite. We've got a maintenance issue in the usual boardroom. We're moving everything to the Morrison Center, room 307. Just confirm back with me and Lupin Chun Holdings." There was a pause on the line. Morrison? You sure?" "Positive." Marcus never questioned things. Just did what he was told. He mumbled an okay and hung up. I opened my laptop and edited the calendar invite before anyone else could jump in, set the time, updated the location, made sure all the attachments were in there, Paul's model just as expected. Nothing to tip them off yet. Then I hit send. Last step, Paul. I walked into his office without knocking. He looked up like I'd kicked his dog. "You're still here?" "Maintenance in the boardroom," I said. HVAC unit started leaking. Facilities is handling it. I moved the meeting to the Morrison Center, room 307. Paul frowned. Why didn't I hear about this? I looped Marcus. He's confirming with the Chens now. I said, keeping my tone even. Didn't want him showing up and seeing ceiling tiles on the floor. He paused, nodded. He hated looking uninformed more than he hated being wrong. The idea of arriving after the Chens and being asked why the location had changed, that was enough to seal it. Fine. I'll head over there early, he said. Good call. I turned to leave. Oh, I said, spinning back around halfway out the door. You riding with me or heading there solo? Paul glanced at his phone. Ride with you? I can finish these emails in the car. Perfect. We walked out together. Got in my car. I took the long way. 10 minutes into the drive, Paul leaned over to check his phone. That's when I reached across, casual as anything, and flipped it into airplane mode. He didn't notice, not even a flinch. He just nodded at something on his screen and mumbled, "They better be ready for this." "They will be," I said, staring straight ahead. "Trust me." I dropped Paul off at the Morrison Center parking garage, watched him walk toward the wrong building, still blissfully unaware. His phone, still in airplane mode, sat on his lap until he tucked it into his blazer and disappeared inside. I didn't wait. Took the on-ramp to the airport and drove straight to Terminal B. No luggage, no boarding pass, just my laptop bag and a plan that was 1 part logic, 2 parts desperation. The terminal buzzed with the usual chaos. Rolling suitcases, crying kids, business travelers barking into earbuds. I kept my head down, moved past the gates, and slipped into a family bathroom near Gate 9. Locked the door behind me. Tile walls. Stainless steel baby changing station. A pull-down seat meant for toddlers. Not exactly a boardroom. But it'd have to do. I set the laptop on the sink, tethered it to my phone's hotspot, and plugged in the drive. Propped my blazer on the wall hook like it mattered. Took a breath. 11:29 a.m. At 12:30 sharp, the screen lit up. There they were. Grace Chun, COO of Chun Holdings, sitting at the head of a polished wood table in Taipei. 2 VPs flanking her. And on the far end, the eldest of the Chun brothers, Mr. Chun himself, with his silver tie pin and folded hands. "Mr. Collins," Grace said, "we were expecting you in person." "My apologies," I said. There was a situation. They waited. My mother passed away this morning. I didn't let the pause linger. Didn't let them offer sympathy or sidetrack the meeting. I clicked into the deck and launched the real presentation. My version. Not the one Paul had previewed with Marcus. Not the one that gutted factory jobs and treated people like line items. The screen shared. Slide 1 came up. This is the alternate model. I said, it maintains profitability and return thresholds while preserving staff at the Kaohsiung plant. It doesn't ship production to mainland China. It doesn't outsource for optics. It works clean. No one spoke. I kept going. Slide after slide. Return projections. Timeline. Transition risks. Labor impact. Local economic effect. And then at the end, I added something Paul never would have. My mother spent 38 years as a community organizer. I said, my voice steady. She taught me that every decision made behind a spreadsheet lands on someone's front porch. This model reflects that. It's efficient, but it's also humane. It honors her. Silence. Grace looked to her right. Mr. Chin leaned forward slowly. My mother, he said, his accent crisp, worked in a garment factory her whole life. I understand what you've done here. He nodded once. We will proceed with your version. I boarded the flight to Detroit with nothing but carry-on, a half-dead phone, and a strange lightness in my chest. The meeting had ended 20 minutes earlier. Grace Chun had thanked me. Mr. Chun had nodded. The others had stayed quiet. But I knew what silence meant in that room. It wasn't disapproval. It was respect. Now I was 30,000 feet in the air. Middle seat economy. Some guy in a hoodie snored against the window. The woman on my right was flipping through a Sky Mall catalog like it still meant something. I sat back, buckled in, and opened my phone. It exploded. 14 missed calls from Paul. 19 from Marcus. A dozen new emails marked urgent. The latest one from Paul read, all caps, "Where the hell are you?" Next one, they're gone. What did you do? Then you're fired. Call me back now. I stared at the screen, watched the notifications stack like falling bricks. It should have felt like panic. It didn't. I shut the phone off, powered it down completely, slipped it back into my pocket like it didn't matter anymore, because it didn't. Paul was probably pacing in that Morrison Center boardroom right now, still trying to figure out why the Chens never showed, wondering why his own calendar invite had the wrong Zoom link, still waiting on a presentation that would never come, because it already had without him. He didn't know the Chens had signed off on my Model 30 minutes before he even realized something was off. He didn't know Grace Chen had already forwarded the agreement to legal. He didn't know that his grip on Harrison Strategic's biggest international client had just been quietly, surgically severed. By me. I looked out the window, over a stretch of patchwork farmland somewhere between Colorado and Michigan, thought about what Paul had said, that if I left, I'd have no job to come back to. He was half right, because I wasn't coming back. Not to the office, not to the meetings, not to the version of myself that bent for men like him and smiled through clenched teeth. I didn't feel regret. I didn't feel scared. I felt free. I'd traded my title for something better. For the first time in years, I'd stood up and chosen dignity over security. And somehow, even in the middle of grief, even with Mom gone, even with everything still raw and unfinished, I felt clear. Ahead of me was a funeral, but behind me, I'd left Paul Henderson holding an empty bag, and he didn't even realize it yet. 6 months later, the sign went up, Collins Strategic Advisors. It was stuck to the glass door of a modest office suite in East Denver, wedged between a local CPA and a yoga studio that always smelled like eucalyptus and sweat. Not flashy, not high-rise, but ours. Funded by 3 things: my savings, a quiet slice of Chun Holdings equity, and a severance agreement from Harrison Strategic that included enough hush money to keep a small country quiet. The first hire was obvious. Maya showed up 5 minutes early on day 1. Same sharp eyes, same black blazer, but no mascara smudge this time. She walked in, saw the blank desks and the cheap coffee maker in the corner, and grinned. "This is real," she said. "Very," I said, handing her a laptop and a mug that just said, "An old blood on the SPR-ETS." She laughed, then got to work. Second hire, Sarah. She said she wasn't sure at first. Teaching paid the bills. But she called me after the funeral, voice low. "Mom would have loved this," she said. "Helping people who never get a seat at the table. You sure you want your little sister doing payroll? More than I want anyone else." She quit her job that same week. And third, Richard. He walked in with his sleeves rolled up and said, "I'd rather be the old guy in the back building something real than the guy at the front of the sinking ship." We didn't talk about Paul. We didn't have to. We started small. 2 clients, both companies with clean margins and messy ethics. One had a labor dispute in Ohio. The other was trying to restructure a factory without gutting half the staff. We did the math, laid out the truth, showed them how to make money without hollowing out their workers like empty shells. And it worked, because it turns out you can build models that keep people in their jobs and keep investors happy. You just have to care enough to try. We weren't revolutionary. We didn't wear capes. We just used our spreadsheets like scalpels instead of hammers. We called it common sense with a conscience. The weird part? No one tried to stop us. Harrison Strategic didn't sue. They didn't smear me. They didn't fight. They were too busy cleaning up the mess I left behind. The Chens had shifted their focus. And their money. Paul's replacement had a LinkedIn post full of fake gratitude and desperate optimism. But they weren't mad. They were scared. And they should have been. Sometimes I still think about that Wednesday morning. The call, the mug, the cream hitting the coffee just right before everything fell apart. I thought that was the beginning of the worst day of my life. Turns out it was just the first day of my real one. I didn't build a revolution, but I built something honest.